Hello, everybody. My name is Tyler, and I am relatively tired. As you can see, I got some bed hair going on, and I'm really hoping as we get through these questions, I wake up. Oh, God. I thought I'd take a nap since at the time of recording the last episode, it was 8, 9 ish at night, and I just kind of checked out real quick when I laid down for even just a minute. So I am awake now. I'm excited to get these questions pushed through, and I want you guys to know more about me, and I get to know about myself. And again, the majority of these podcasts is so that you guys get to know who I am, and I get to know who you are in the comments down below. I want the podcast to be an experience to where it's just the two of us sitting down, conversating, being around each other, and I like that. I would like lunch. I would like Korean barbecue. I would like to have hot pot. I would like a conversation over those foods. I just have flashbacks now to where having Korean barbecue and hot pot with a guy that I know is a little. Memories are bittersweet because of how we are right now, but I'm always down to food. Down to food. Let's go ahead and start off these questions as we get into it. I'm sorry for the delay and the fatigue. You enjoy going to art museums. There in Seattle. There's not a lot of art. I would say I would disagree only because I appreciate art. I mean, I guess I can. Well, I can say slightly. I can say I slightly enjoy going to the art museum because I've only ever been to the. Actually, no. I will slightly disagree only because I've only went to the Smithsonian's museum and I went to the art museum in Seattle. But beyond those two experiences, I haven't had much time to go into museums. I would say the 2020 equivalent is to just scroll through Instagram or just scroll through like TikTok, because if media is art, then we've seen a lot of pictures, we've seen a lot of drawings on Instagram, we've seen a lot of art forms in TikTok regarding a person's creative, and even YouTube is a catalog of people's videographic art pieces, whether it's entertainment or educational or inspired by the idea and concepts drawn out or filmed into fruition, into physical manifestations. I'd say I don't enjoy going to museums as much. I slightly disagree only because the original concept of museums, you go to a place that's hung up artwork, I haven't had the experience of that. And I'm only comparing it to the experience of social media because that's what it has become recently. A lot of people would document their journey into making Picasso pieces or their Van Goghs, and that's what it is nowadays. And that's what it is in 2022. So I wish I had the time to be more appreciative. I remember going into the art museum when I was in grade school for it was in middle school for an assignment for art class because we had to like draw from inspiration from them. So that was a fun bit in middle school. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. I agree, and I only agree because I have a hard time understanding other people's feelings from the lack in practice. Normally when you're small, pubescent, you're a monkey in a barrel. You're so used to being exposed to multiple environments from the kinder care to the daycare. And when you go through school, there's a lot of instances in your childhood, normally in the 90s, where you have the chance to see other people and see how they react. And knowing how to understand other people's feelings comes from the experience of being around people. And I wasn't very public because of my mom and dad. Not because they hated people, but because we had the Vietnam War mentality. We had the survivor's mentality to where my mom ended up developing. My mom developed a slight case of hoarderism. She was a hoarder a bit because the moment she came to the country from Vietnam, she didn't have a lot, so she wouldn't know the next time that she would have things like containers for food or like sets of clothes. And that's why even right now, even in my closet, I have a set of clothes that I've only ever updated every like 6 months. But my clothes are in a cycle, and I wear clothes. I wear some T-shirts that I've been wearing since I was in high school because it's comfortable and it's a reminder of times, and it's it should I should be buying more clothes that fit me. I fit into extra large now. I should really be swapping all my larges for extra large. But I that's that's something I haven't done yet, and that's partially why I don't have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Like I don't understand why people would continue to buy clothes when they already have clothes at home. I don't have the social cues of understanding fashion trends either. But I am learning. It's never too late to learn trends as you're living, and you see, as you work more, as you have different job opportunities, you are going to get a chance to see other people and how they react, and you'll curb and change your tactic, which is the important part of like living past high school, past moving out. What can I say? I can definitely add on more, but we got questions. We got questions. You like to have a to do list for each day. I slightly disagree. I used to have a to do list for each day because that was in school. When you're in school, you are structured to have a certain schedule to go to class and at a certain time. And when you leave home, you're expected to do these certain tasks like homework or project investment on your free time when you go home, and that doesn't include when you sleep. So I used to, like many other people, I would have a list of what to do after I finished swim team, after I got off work. There'd be a to do list for homework before I would go to bed. And sometimes that includes me holding a monster or a coffee in my hand to make sure those tasks were done. Nowadays, as long as I can get home and as long as I can get home to and from work successfully, and I get inside the house with my pajamas, I don't have much of a do list anymore. If I end up sleeping the entire time, then I do. If I have enough energy to make food for the next couple of days, then I do. And that does remind me that I do need to make some overnight oats to help out Joanna. Joanna doesn't. I actually don't know what she'll have for uh, food. So after the recording, I will definitely have to make some chicken bowls, so she can take to work. I am gonna do my best to help do that. But definitely, getting into your adulthood, it's definitely harder to have a to do list because when you lay down, sleep takes priority. Like you don't plan on just sleeping. You lay down to take a rest, and then your body takes over, saying, "No, you need to recover. I'm gonna put your 20-minute rest into a 4-hour nap, and you don't get to say anything about it." So it's also funny to where when I was trying to clean up and do things at night when she went to bed, I couldn't lay down in bed for a minute. I had to be by her side as she fell asleep because I knew if I laid down too, I would say adios. Also, that's not a good thing. I had things to do. There's still things to be done. And I don't think the work will ever be over. There's work where I need to. I technically have a to do list once I start a task. When I start cleaning, I have a to do list of okay, I need to wipe everything down first. I will need to clean up the laundry and things like that. I have a to do list of when I want to eat. I have to set up the situation for a sandwich. I toast a sandwich, I toast the bread, and then get the ingredients of what do I want for bread accessories. That's my to do list of what I do. Otherwise, the moment I get home and lie down, I'm praying that I only stay in bed for the 20 minutes. Otherwise, adios. I am. That is my to do list. That's my to do for the day until I start working. And when you get older, to do lists are so hard to maintain. Unless you're introduced to it in a very healthy way. I don't think. I think there are a lot of people, unlike me, who have loved to do lists because they provide a control in their life, and I want control. However, sometimes the best control you have is to have no control because there's no stress, you know? But I definitely do wish I was more determined to have a schedule and to follow through. It'd be nice to be accountable to my own self when I wasn't accountable for the homework lesson, for the homework, or for responsibilities that I thought I had. You rarely feel insecure. Disagree. I feel insecure quite a lot. I feel insecure about my height, the girth. I feel insecure about how much food I'm possibly going to get throughout the day because, like I said, when I lay down, it's adios. And I also, at the same time, thinking if I lay down for a minute, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to make my foods, I'm going to enjoy myself. And I don't follow through because my body says adios, you need sleep. And so it shuts down. And I enjoy that I get to shut down, but also that gets in the way of meal prep. It gets in the way of me wanting to do things ahead for myself. So I'm happy when I wake up. But I do wish that I was more secure about everything. I want to be more secure that my body's fine. I'm not overtly obese. I can move around. I have the capacity to squat and get up, to lift things up from the ground. I have the capacity to look down and say, there they are. And I can't be, I have to be able to sit within my insecurity and feel okay with it so that I can move on and improve. Which is why a lot of the times I enjoy weight training because that's a measurable thing I can control. I feel secure about what I can control as to how much I'm lifting. I can't control how long I can resist and stay doing sets of 12, but I can control how much I'm lifting. I can control how often throughout the day. If I lift at least once during the day, then that's great. Then that's a victory. If I have 10 total sets of weight training, then that's a victory. I have to be secure within those means. But I'm still insecure about a lot of other things, and that comes with emotional and generational trauma. It sucks. TLDR. You avoid making phone calls. I disagree, essentially because when you get a phone call, you have to just get over with it. If you're gonna have a problem with a phone call, you'll have a problem if you take the time to shower, bathe, teeth brush, and talk to them in person or email. If you have a hard time making phone calls, maybe email it may be a lot harder. I am also a hypocrite because again, it goes with my to-do list. Sometimes my to-do list doesn't include me calling up my friends like I should. Calling up your friends, see how they're doing. I've seen my dad do that for the past 20 years, 30 years. And I wish I had friends to do that with. I feel bad because there was a time where I wanted to call a friend of mine a whole lot, but I didn't really have the courage to ask them, hey, number, let's be more comfortable friends. And so I ended up using the operator. I dialed zero. I ended up asking for a phone number, and then I got their phone number, and it was creepy. I immediately forgot. I did not write down that number, but then I definitely called, and they seemed okay with it for a bit, and then I stopped calling. So they were like, "Oh, okay, sure." So we won't just report the fact that he used the operator to like find out my phone number. But I was again a really shy boy to where I wanted to call them, but I didn't know. I didn't ask them directly. Hey, can I get your number? So I feel better now that I have the courage to ask for numbers when I want to talk to them. Otherwise, situations would arise that allow me to get their number at work, but never during school. During school, it's always difficult to like, hey, can I get your number? Because the association with getting numbers, training numbers, is a little bit of a call, a little bit of a there's always a bad connotation to everything. Kind of like how the concept of dating is hard, where both give each other so much, they spoil each other to assume the best and worst of each other. So I assume the worst out of me when I make phone calls because I sound like it's an inconvenience to them the moment they pick up. Which again, phone calls are never convenient to the other person, and at the same time, even when you text, is inconvenient to you because you're waiting patiently for when they text back. So you don't know anymore. Do you call and get the interaction over with, or do you text and wait for them to respond to you when they may be also insecure about whether or not they should respond because they don't know what to say or they're quite busy? And they are probably quite busy, but then the 5% says, try harder or get away from me. And that's really hard to come by, but that's why phone calls are a hit or miss. And it's very bilateral. It's black and white, essentially, when it comes to phone calls. I should do that more often. I need to. But again, I that really depends on your situation and context. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. I often do, mostly and mainly because everybody lived their own life different from mine. Just because I am the same age as my roommate or as a high school or college student to my other peer, they did not live my same life exactly. So I would really like, when it comes to, that's why conversation is so important, because that's a way to bridge your life with theirs. You don't know what they've been through, they don't know if you've been through. So a lot of icebreakers like hot takes, like would you rather, those are great ways to break down the barrier, because the ultimate goal for the majority is to understand the views that are different, because lives are very different on how they're lived. And I want to be in a space to where my friend and I can sit down and we can have like dumb arguments. We can talk about the beeps and the boops. We can talk about experiences with food, tier lists of movies and stuff like that. And just for a brief moment, be in each other's shoes and just live vicariously through their stories. And conversation allows that opportunity. But I'll have to close the opportunity now because it is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening and watching. You can find me at WTPHU, that's Wtphu, online. Most socials, you'll type it out and then you'll find me. I relatively loopy. I definitely will take a break. Maybe if I lay down, then cool. I get adios and be asleep for a bit. But let me know down in the comments on YouTube of any questions you have or any retorts to my opinions about these questions. And I would love to see you in the next episode. So thank you so much for watching. And as always, I'm Tyler. I'm your friend. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.